Despite the existence of the National Fiscal Planning Standards and Guidelines, among other respective policies, Uganda has continued to choke on uncoordinated infrastructure development that has in turn demeaned urban development and sustainable growth. With the growth in investment, trade and the industry, the need to follow international valuation standards has gained force, exerting pressure for policy revision. According to the Lands Ministry, government has moved to meet certain criteria such as adoption of international valuation standards.
And among such criteria is the adoption of international valuation standards, international financial standards. Then we have things like the Equator Principles, so amongst other conventions. So for us to be able to meet those requirements, we need to have our national standards. And the reason being that, whereas yes, we have international standards, Uganda is unique. We have a unique economy, unique land holding system, everything is unique. You find that the international standards do not prescribe to the detail that we require.
The national standard procedure is meant to streamline development initiatives such as valuers, for instance, are moved to ensure consistency and reliability in related transactions regardless of the property type or location. This is expected to ultimately enforce transparency and equity in the industry, thus encouraging investment and economic growth.
Now, once we have standards, then the valuations and the appraisals of the assets and the liabilities becomes very credible, because most of these investors also source money from international financial institutions, which need to rely on valuations, and these valuations need to be hinged on standards which are acceptable and are grounded in generally acceptable principles of investment and finance. So it helps in concrete decision making, and it is accepted internationally.
The constitution is very clear. The wetland is a heritage and intensive for Ugandans. It's protected for the good of Ugandans. So you cannot have a title on it. A valuer with the standard should have been able to say this is not valuable and should have entered zero value. And that road would have been cheaper. More money would have remained in the coffers of government. But without those valuation standards, somebody just comes and say, well, everything has value, I'm therefore giving it this value. And if you looked at their reports, they say, in my view, the value of this is this. And normally what is states, it is near a road, it is near what, but we need the standards.
To meet such standards, involved industry players such as surveyors and valuers are tasked to be familiar with the developments and adhere to them for accuracy, reliability, and international best practices. Bronia Katusiime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.